we're basically going to talk about pretty much mindset, and both Shelly and I both work with kind of the same people, you could say, and a lot of the same things we deal with, people not understanding the mindset changes that are needed to reach their goals and the common pitfalls we find with that and why they can't reach their goals because of their mindset.
Bingo. Yeah.
Do you want to like go back and forth, the most common things that you see, or do you want to do all of yours first?
Yeah, let's go back and forth because I bet we have some overlap. So I think if we were to put a headline on it, like you said, the most common pitfalls to reaching a fitness or nutrition or weight loss goal. Would that sound good?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right, I will go first then. You want me to go first?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So the number one thing, and I think this has changed most of my clients the most, is to stop looking at whatever your goal is as a deadline or a be all end all goal. And because the reason that I feel so strongly about that is because when you focus on, like, I want to lose 15 pounds, or I want to run a 7-minute mile, or I want to fit into my old pair of pants, whatever. When that doesn't happen on the timeline you want it to, often causes people to say, F it, I'm done. Like, this is all for naught. And there's no point in changing my lifestyle whatsoever. And so what I like to tell my clients is, like, remove the deadline. Like, you can have goals. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But to not look at it as a, like, I think, or I expect, or this should happen by a certain time. And instead to focus on the steps and the process. And I know a lot of people are going to, like, roll their eyes when you're like, focus on the process, but, like, literally focus on the process. Because focusing on that instead of on what's not happening, it's so much easier to, like, literally stay the course and not get frustrated. And I think frustration is what usually makes people give up and throw in the towel instead of doing the things to do. So
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I think I can't remember who said it exactly, but probably many people reiterated it. When you just focus on the outcome and you don't love the journey part of it, it's not fun to wake up early to go work out. It's not fun to, choose more vegetables over just getting takeout because it's easier. But when you keep that end result in mind, and not just focus on, like, I have to get to this point at this time, you can keep enjoying it later on and you, like, fall in love with the process.
that is, I just believe so much in falling in love with the process because you learn so much and you grow so much. And if we're only looking at the end result, you miss out on, like, literally 99% of what this is all about. And I think goals change. Like,
Mhm.
my goals are always changing. And so that's the other thing. I'm like, if you're only focused on one goal, like, you're going to miss out on maybe some other things that are really calling your name because you're so focused on what's not happening or what hasn't happened yet.
Right. I mean, think about, like, how many clients you've worked with, I've worked with, and through their journey, there's, like, so many different, like, iterations of themselves. Like, I always say when my clients make a new mindset shift, I'm like, you're like blank name 2.0. Like,
Totally.
right? It's
Totally.
a totally different person, different mind, different way you attack things.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of clients, most of mine, will come to me saying, I want to lose weight. And, like, halfway through, like, sure, we're still working on that, but, like, we barely talk about the scale. We're barely talking about those things because all of a sudden they've, like, grown into this person who is focused on all the other things. And it's the coolest evolution. And, like, every so often they'll be like, oh yeah, and I lost, like, X more pounds or whatever. But, like, it's funny how the beginning of the relationship is usually, like, they're so focused on it and you're reminding them, like, don't focus on the scale, don't focus on the scale. And then a few months in, it's like, oh, we haven't even peaked at the scale in a while because they've shifted that mindset from not just focusing on the one thing, but all of the things that get you there.
Right. It's like not just the body transformation, but it's the mindset transformation. Like you said, it's not that focusing on weight loss is a bad thing, but it's so superficial compared to, like, the deep inner work that you end up doing without even realizing it.
Yeah, and I think the reason most people get caught in the, like, yo-yo dieting, lose it, gain it, is because they haven't taken the time to put in the mindset work. And
Mhm.
so that's why it's a vicious cycle for anyone that's never put in the mindset work and never shifted the focus into the process, not just on the end game or the end goal. Because that goal is not going to make you a happier human being.
Mhm.
It's all the stuff that leads up to it.
Right. Did we just like turn into mindset coaches?
I mean, I don't think there's anyone who successfully loses weight and keeps it off or hits a fitness goal and maintains it if they haven't done the mindset work. I truly in deep in my heart believe that you will never be successful, sustainable, any of those things long term if you don't put in the mindset work first or along the way. It doesn't have to happen exclusively, but along the way it has to happen.
Mhm. Yeah.
Because over and over again, people get so frustrated by the process because they're not where they want to be quick enough that they just stop. And I think that's the most common pattern.
Oh, and that was my first one, not getting quick enough changes. As imperfectly, right?
Yep.
Because so many people are like, I want to lose 5 pounds in the next 2 weeks, right? Because they saw an ad for that and it's like guaranteed, weight loss. And they stuck to the process, quote unquote, process loosely, because what process are they really doing? And they're like, well, I did it for 5 days and nothing happened, right? But sometimes this stuff takes weeks. Sometimes this stuff takes months. And you don't start training for a marathon, right? The day before, you're doing it technically before, months before.
A
You know,
100% agree with that.
it's like if you you don't know, and this could be for so many things, like you're just pushing and pushing and pushing, and you could have a breakthrough the next day and you just don't know it, but you were just too quick to give up on, the goal and you wanted that quick, like, ooh, I saw lost in this scale. I mean, even my last dieting phase that I'm currently in, the first like 5 weeks were brutal. Like nothing was changing. And then all of a sudden it was like 11 pounds later. Like, where did that come from? Right?
I am exactly the same. And I don't know why. The only explanation I have is probably from years and years of under eating and metabolic adaptation. And even though I've done so much work to repair all the things, when I last went into a dieting phase, like a year and a half ago, a solid month before the scale dropped, a solid month.
Yeah.
And yeah. And a lot of people after a week, what do your clients come after a week? Like expecting to lose like 2 pounds a week. Like it doesn't usually happen that way.
Right. And that's like a wear in my forehead. Like when you work with me, I'm
Yeah.
not getting weight loss. We're doing a long haul.
The quicker it comes off, usually the quicker it comes back on. But yeah, not to go too far off course, but completely agree. Like having in your head a deadline, it's like jokes on you, or like a timeline jokes on you, because our bodies just aren't like that. We've all seen, or I know you have, like the graphs, like weight loss isn't linear.
Hmm.
It's like,
Hmm. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you have to hang in there and again, focus on the process. I always tell my clients, do the things to do the things, not just to see like the scale change or to run faster or lift heavier. Like do the things to do the things and you will get that result.
Control what you can control, right?
Yeah.
I
Thank
control scale's gonna go down unless I take out a battery.
you. Yeah.
But control if I went to bed early, if I worked out, if I got my steps, if I, tried not to beat myself up mentally. Like I can control those things. So that's what I'm gonna focus on.
Right. Exactly. 100% with you, because our bodies are going to do what they want to do on the timeline they want to do it. And all we can do is set them up for success. Yeah.
I always say that too. Do you have a next one you want to talk about?
Or the good old all or nothing mentality, which
Uh,
I think is, again, yeah, one of the ones that cause people literally to yo-yo diet for decades is, oh, I was so good for like a week and then we went out of town and I like ate my way through San Francisco and so might as well never get back on track. Or like, oh,
mhm.
I was so good, and I hate the language, like I was so good, like, but I'm just gonna use it for like simplicity's sake. Like, or I stayed on track, but then I totally blew it. And so now I've been like on a bender, or it's, you know, like that kind of mindset instead of like, okay, so I didn't like stick to my plan or hit my macros or get my workout in today. But that doesn't mean like we're done and we can never carry on. So that all or nothing mindset. So I'm sure you have some
Yeah.
in.
I mean, I lived a long time. I am like the gung ho person that's like all in to, to a fault because I was the same way. Like when I started a diet and when I was doing this in high school with no idea of what I was doing, it was chips, nothing. I could only do cardio in the morning, life was very, very boring. But then the moment I was bad and had cereal or something dumb like that, I was like, oh, all the things are off. We're having it all. And I always think like how much faster progress I could have made if I would have just adopted the fact that I didn't have to be perfect all the time and that I could make a mistake and then just get right back on track and forget about beating myself up and being mean to myself and just keep going. Like if you're eating 3 times a day, which I would say an average person's probably eating like three, unlike me, that's like five.
I'm like 6.
Yeah, we're eating a lot more. Um, 21 meals in a week. So let's say you messed up two. I can't do math, but two
Yeah.
out of one, you still have what, 19 meals that you can do really well on? That's where the progress is made, not on the one-off meal.
Yeah,
How
exactly.
about it?
I sometimes I'll give clients some like tough love on this one because they'll be like, well, I'm just like such a perfectionist. I'm like, well, don't be here. You know, like you can keep saying I'm such a perfectionist, so I only kind of go big or go home. But that's kind of a cop out because you're giving yourself an excuse to either be all in or not in at all. And that doesn't go anywhere. And I know a lot of people like to say, well, like at least like be on it like 80% of the time, like 80-20. And I think that's a good ratio, but I don't even want people to think of it that way because I really think so many people are either all in or all out. And so if they're not at 100, they're like that 80-20 doesn't even mean anything to them. But it's like, again, would you rather make a little progress today, or would you rather not even make no progress but set yourself back? And
Mhm.
a lot of people end up continuously setting themselves back because they're like, well, I can't do it perfectly. And it's a vicious cycle.
I mean, would you rather be inconsistently perfect or consistently like average or a little bit
Right.
better? I'd rather be consistently average and doing better. And it's kind of like I can't think of the concept right now, but the more you work at it like a diamond, right? It's you have
Mhm.
to keep going at it. You're gonna get to that point where you maybe might be like perfect, without trying because you've had the years and time under pressure to get to that point. But if you try putting perfection as like I have to start here, it's just down from there.
Yeah. And I think, oh shoot, I had something to go right off with that, but of course I just said
You want me to jump to my next one?
yeah. Hold on, give me one. See, if all or nothing, I'd be like, well, screw it. None of this means any. Oh, this is something I tell my clients also. Like, keep in mind, none of this is like a magic number. So, like, if you plan to work out 4 times a week and you only work out 3, and they're like, oh, I feel so bad, I didn't hit my 4 workouts, or like, I lost the week, and it's like, no, like 4 was their target. There's nothing that says like 4 is magical, and like so keep on going. Don't let that distract you from keeping on going. You didn't fail because you didn't hit like all of your protocols or all of your markers. Like these are just like we would, be as consistent as possible, but not hitting them all the time doesn't mean like you're a failure. It just like, okay, we didn't do it perfectly. Right.
Yes, attaching the idea that if you didn't cross something off your list, then you're a failure. And that's something that I have to work on because I am the check boxer. Like my everything xed out, done, and then putting that value, I think it's just something we do from like school, getting grades and things. Not that that's bad, but when you're putting a value on whether you achieve something, part of your health journey, it's really hard not to let that affect how you feel about yourself and
Yeah.
whether it's worth your time or not. So
Yeah.
going back into mindset, like just attaching from it has to be perfect and just like I'm going to consistently try my best.
Yep. This is that something I tell my clients a lot. I don't know if you read the book, The Four Agreements, but oh, you would love it. It's really short, and there's a whole chapter in there about doing your best in whatever situation you're in at the time. And like your best this week might be different than your best next week. And they don't have to be the same, but you're always doing your best in whatever circumstances you're in at the time. That's all you can ask of yourself. So your
Mhm.
best week might look different than your best last week, and that's okay. And that sort of leads into my one of my other mindset things is people that fall into like the comparison trap. And not comparing yourself to yourself, also not comparing your progress to anyone else's progress.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, that's a huge one because there are so many other factors just despite like thinking like scheduling, right? I mean, for us as like being in the fitness industry, it's really easy. I fell this into this a lot where I would look at other girls who are, coaches, which probably some of them were just, I don't want to say this, but like influencers, right? Where they outfits. I'm like, how do they look like that? And I like what we forget is there's so many things, their schedule, what they have available to them, their genetics, right? I'm never gonna look like that. I come from a family of concave butts. I'm like, so do the best I can. But clients are the same way. They look at people who are their main job is just to work out, or they don't have kids, or they don't have a busy schedule. So of course they can commit more time to that. But if you're just putting it against like, hey, last year I had a client who last August, she gained almost 10 pounds. This August she lost 1 pound. I'm like, that's insane. A year difference. And it's 11-pound swing. So if you just look back to what did I do last time, or did I improve from last time? You're gonna get so much more confidence and motivation from that than comparing yourself to Joe Schmo who is not even close to your lifestyle.
and even if they were, I'm going to even go as far as say, even if we were living identical lifestyles, even if we had identical genetics, who cares? Who
Mhm.
cares? Anybody else looks quote unquote better than you or is more athletic than you. Like I have been running for like 25 years. I am not a fast runner. I am like maybe middle of the pack.
Mhm.
If I was like constantly comparing myself to people who are just much faster than I am,
Mhm.
I can't do anything, but I've done everything I can. And that's all I can ask of myself. And so I really try and just be like, literally other people's progress, whether it be body composition, athleticism, success in their business, does not matter. Does not matter in my life at all.
Mhm. That's
Um,
it's like the blinders on a horse.
yeah, I mean that's how I pretty much have come to the point where I live my life like I do not care what other people are succeeding or not succeeding. Why does that matter to me?
Yeah.
Because
Does it
it's
really affect you in a positive way? Maybe say, oh,
not.
motivation, but for some people they just can't see that and it's just like a turn off to like, oh, but they're doing better, right? But no, it's your life, your happiness, not theirs. They're not looking at.
Yep.
Um,
Um,
so maybe my last one, I had a good one for
yeah.
that. Um, a deep connection to what they're doing, they're lacking, right?
Mhm.
Because like I said earlier, you can totally have a weight loss goal, but it's superficial at best, right? If
Yep.
you're working the plan, showing up, but it's not happening fast enough for you, and you don't have a deep connection to, okay, yes, I want to lose weight, but what's that going to do for my life? How is it going to benefit my surroundings, my kids, my family? Then it's like, I didn't lose 5 pounds, whatever. But if you're like, I want to be the best freaking healthiest mom that I can be for my kids, or I want to be super strong so I'm like freaking strong at 70, right? That's going to keep you going when times are tough and when the results aren't showing up yet. So
Yeah.
lack that, it's like you just whatever, I'll just try it again maybe next year.
And that's why, again, I really believe in doing mindset work before or during is so important. Otherwise, your goals are literally like probably determined by outside factors, by like the media, by commercials, by what you see other people doing. And when's the last time you actually sat and was like, why do I really want this? Or what do I really want? Or what am I looking for
Mhm.
out of it? And that kind of like I had one more sort of lingering thing, and I think it ties together, is that people completely lose sight of like enjoying this and having fun and like seeing that this is a privilege. Like you are so privileged if you get to work on your health, if you have the time and the resources to do these things. And it's something that I kind of heard with some of my clients about. I'm like, you know how lucky you are that you get to try to optimize your health. Like, don't look, this is not a chore. You are so fortunate that you get to do this. And some people never really grasp that. And so they forever hate it. And I don't know. I don't know how I don't try and change people's minds around it. I think it's something that just has to click. But until you allow yourself to see this as like, this is something I am doing for myself. No one's forcing me to do this. And you're in the like, poor me, woe is me. Oh my gosh, I can't lose weight. Like, good luck. Good luck with that.
Yeah. And if you like the clients for me that have had traumatic health scares, including myself, who couldn't walk at 21, right? That's pretty rough, 21. Like, I know what it feels like to lose the ability to do things. I know what it feels like to wake up and I can't walk. Like, now, obviously, I can walk. I'm standing right here. Obviously, I work out all the time, but I know the difference between having those things and not having the ability to, and having the ability but being lazy.
Yeah.
So it's like you said, like being grateful and you're able to do this, and like people get like, ugh, I don't feel like doing that. I'm like, no, you get to work out. You get to go spend time making yourself stronger when some people can't do it because of physical resource, whatever it is.
You get to go to a grocery store that has fresh food, and be like, I don't want to eat vegetables. I'm like, sorry, like get
That's my
like
yeah.
get to. So not to go super tangential there, but I do think there's a lot to be said about like operating from a place of gratitude and being grateful that you can choose to improve your health and improve your life. And those things are going to make, like, literally are going to make your person. So, like, I don't understand not choosing them.
It's really like we keep saying, having the weight loss goals, whatever goals they are, fitness, feel like there's so much deeper stuff to that. If you want to make this a part of your lifestyle forever, it's really changing how you think about the things you're doing, the way you do them, and how it affects you. And this can be a lifelong thing, but if you're just focused on a one little thing, whether it's run faster or get stronger or lose weight, it's you're not going to be as dedicated to that journey as you would if it's like becomes a part of you.
Right. Because you're just going to be like so likely to give up and get frustrated because those milestones aren't going to come as you want them to. So,
Right. Yeah.
I think we have them all. I'm sure there's a lot more, but I think we got some good solid points out.
Say that for the next one.
Yeah, but well, this was fun. Hopefully, some people picked up some new tidbits that will help them out on whatever journeys they're on. So,
Do I, before I close it, am I pressing just the X button? Is it that simple?
yes, yes, yes. So, to anyone here that is here because of me, meet Maddie, who I met through our mentor, and you should go follow her. She's awesome. So it's fun.
Likewise, you guys are meeting Shelley for the first time. Same, we met, same mentor.
Yeah.
And she talks a lot about fitness and nutrition and reaching your goals with that and getting strong, which we like.
Yeah. I reached out to Madison because I was like, I feel like we're on the same page a lot because we're not so focused on like just talking about losing weight or the scale, like both very much in, like the fitness and the mindset aspect of all of it, and see really holistically, which I enjoy.
Yeah, I think it's a lot deeper. We keep
Yeah.
saying deeper than just the scale,
Yeah.
the person.
All right. Well, thank you everyone who joined. And if you have any questions, let us know. Or have just ideas or other things to add, shoot them
Yeah,
out.
would love to do this again. And there's a plethora of things we can talk about. So we'll definitely do this like next month or something.
Before or after your big day.
Oh, yeah. I don't anywhere, so keep that closed.
So, okay, I think you hit the X. Hopefully it saves and we can share it on to stores
Cool.
and save it for life. All right,
So,
cool.
thanks, guys. Bye.